Dr. Chapman, we're going to take some feedback or else these people are going to beat me up. We got feedback coming from all over the country. I'm going to start with Sean Lance in Eugene, Oregon. I love your books. It's difficult to improve your marriage when only one person seems to be trying. In this case, I'm trying, my wife isn't. Dr. Chapman, I am doing my best to work things out in a Christian way, but is it possible that maybe I just didn't marry the right person?
Well, certainly that's always possible that we made poor choices in marriage. But, because we're human, we all have the potential for growth. And what I would say when you're trying and your spouse is not trying, here's an approach. If you haven't tried this one, try it. You learn her primary love language. You speak her love language at least 2 or 3 times a week. No matter how she treats you, you speak her love language. And then about 6 weeks down the road, you ask her, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much love do you feel coming from me? Or another way to put it, how full is your love tank? It's the idea that inside every one of us there's a love tank. How full is your love tank? If she says anything less than 10, you say, what could I do to help fill it? And she gives you an idea, and you do it. And then another 6 weeks later, you ask her again, 0 to 10, how full is your tank? And if she gives you a 9 or a 10, you know you're getting through to her. Then you can start making requests of her. And so you say, something I really wish you would do for me sometime. And you tell her. And chances are she'll do it because she's feeling a lot of love coming from you. So you essentially are teaching her how to speak your love language even though she hasn't read the book and she's not even trying. But because you're loving her, love stimulates love. You're loving her, then you make requests, and she's very likely to respond. And when she does, you begin to feel love. So, there's more than one way to approach things. Not everybody's going to sit down and read a book with their spouse. But if you learn the concept, you learn how to apply it, there's a good chance you can teach them how without their even knowing what's going on. But they like it because they're feeling loved.
Huh. And thanks for listening. Let's go with Joe Rice, Cambridge, Massachusetts. After some rocky times, my wife and I have been using the information in your books, and it is very helpful, but sometimes it seems that no matter what I do, my wife can't help but be resentful for my past mistakes, and I'm not sure how to get through those moments.
Well, let's face it, our past mistakes do scar us, and even if you give an honest and sincere apology, and even if they choose to forgive you, the memory can come back of those past experiences. And when the memory comes back in your spouse's mind, sometimes the emotion comes back, the hurt comes back. And what I say to those people, if I were talking to your wife, I'd say, when the memory comes back and the pain comes back, you simply take that to God, and you say to God, you know what I'm remembering, and you know what I'm feeling, but I thank you. That's history. That's forgiven. That's in the past. Now, help me to live today. I want to do something good today. I don't want my today to be ruined by yesterday. All of us have things in the past that we wish we had not done. And in a marriage, we often hurt each other. But if we apologize and if we forgive, then we can let them be history and we can live in the present. So if you can help, your wife understand that, and part of it may be reading a book like this, or I wrote another book just recently, as a matter of fact, called Love as a Way of Life. What if love becomes a way of life for us? And I developed 7 traits of love in that book, one of which is forgiveness, letting things go, getting rid of the anger. And there's always a way to get rid of the anger and let past failures go. So that might be a book that she would profit from reading. It's called simply Love as a Way of Life.
Dr. Chapman, why do you think your books are so popular? There's the information in there, obvious, but is it because it's so practical and easy to follow? That although you have a ton of knowledge and experience, you really do lay it out for someone so that they can just simply follow it and understand it. Do you think that's why they're so popular?
Steve, I think 2 things. I think that's one of them, because I purposefully write all of my books on a level that the average person can understand. I leave off theological words. I leave off philosophical words. I leave off technical words. I just try to talk in common language that people understand. I think that's part of it. Secondly, I use a lot of real-life stories, and people know this is real. This I can see this. real life stories. And the other thing is, at least in these books on love, I'm addressing what I believe is the deepest human emotional need, and that is the need to feel loved. Whether you're married or whether you're single, whether you're a child or whether you're an adult, all of us need to feel loved. And when people read it and learn how to communicate love and meet that emotional need, it changes the climate in their relationship. And then they want to share it with their friends. So I think most of my books are so word of mouth. You know, a friend says, hey, I just read this book. It's really changed our marriage, you know, and they share it with a friend, and the friend does the same thing. It's interesting, Steve, on this book, it's been out now for 15 years, and every year it sells more than it did the year before, which is the opposite of what most books do. You know, most books sell the greatest amount the first year, and then it dwindles off and finally goes out of print. And this book has sold more every year than it has the year before. So, and it's, you know, right now as we speak, it's on the New York Times bestseller list, and it's been there for 60 weeks. So, you know, after all these years. So it's word of mouth, and I think it's because it really addresses this deep human need that we have to feel loved.
Well, it really does, and does explain love well. You know, I travel a lot, and I was recently in the middle of the country somewhere. I want to say it was in North Dakota, and I went into a Christian a bookstore there, and they had a Gary Chapman section. I mean, your books were everywhere in this huge section that's just flying off the shelves. And this is after, of course, I had read the 5 Love Languages, and to me, I hope that you keep writing. I hope that you keep giving more stuff, because to me, this book is about relationships, but so much more than that, so much deeper. I found something very, very fascinating about myself from reading this book. So I continuously urge people to read it, and all the listeners, check it out definitely, and check out his website.